Hey y'all, and welcome to another edition of Confederate Shop's Hidden Gems. So this week I have a special book that I want to feature for this deal of the week, and it is one that I frequently suggest to readers when I talk to them about the institution of Southern slavery. Now, as you know, that's a very controversial subject when it comes to the war between the states. It was a controversial issue prior to the war between the states. No one can really deny that. But this book in particular that I feature is going to show a very unbiased and clear, transparent view of the institution from not a Southerner, not a plantation owner, not somebody that lived down south and observed it, but actually from a Massachusetts pastor who existed in and prior to the war between the states. And his name is Nehemiah Adams, and he wrote a South Side view of slavery. Now, he doesn't make any qualms about it. He is very anti-slavery, as he believes everyone should be at that time. But let me explain something before I get into the details of this book. During the 1800s, there was a pretty big distinction between the anti-slavery movement and the radical abolitionist movement. Now, much of the rhetoric that was being spewed out in the 1850s was from the radical abolitionist movement. You know, they would make claims like Robert E. Lee beat his slaves, and they would make other very tremendous claims that would really raise the eyebrows of everybody reading it. So Nehemiah Adams was an advocate against slavery. He does not condone it at all in this book or anywhere else in his writings or in his preachings or wherever. But what he did was he wanted to observe the institution, and so he traveled down south and he wrote down much of what he found. He interviewed slaves, he interviewed masters, he went on different plantations and observed how the slaves lived there. He went into cities and saw how they conducted their different organizations, right? He makes a point to show and tell the history that oftentimes slaves had their own religious organizations, that they had their own fire departments, and they were organized in various different ways. He makes mention of all the aspects of Southern slavery that you would guess, even so much as talking about the separation of families. So he talks about in great detail the institution itself as it existed down south. But what makes this such a great resource is that it completely blows the radical abolitionist narrative out of the water. Now, when you read this, you say to yourself, well, why would he be wanting to do that? I believe from reading this a couple times that his premise is that he believes the radical abolitionist movement is actually more dangerous than the institution of slavery itself, because it was driving, as he believed, a division within the country that would lead to war. So he predicted it. This was published in 1855, and so he puts it out there 5 years before the conflict really came to a head. But the important thing is he really blows the typical slavery narrative out of the water. Now, if you love history, this is a first-hand account resource of our history. He's going to talk about so many different things that you need to know, really, if you want to talk about the institution in a transparent and honest way. So this week, this book is going to be on a slight sale, so get it while you can. A South Side View of Slavery by Nehemiah Adams. Thanks for watching.